Hey, warriors. Anyway, so I want to talk about there's a bit of an energy shift today. Um and I don't mean like the usual collective shift we talk about. I mean something very specific, that landed today. Um I spent a lot of time today, observing and feeling the field, and the message is really really clear. Something cracked open today. Um, not your heart or your mind, but the truth, your truth. So I want to walk you through, what's happening collectively right now, and why you might feel, off, emotional, quiet, strangely honest, even with yourself. Um, Anyway, this is the biggest thing happening today. There's a truth surge, running through the collective. It feels like, I can't pretend anymore. I'm done shrinking. I can't lie to myself. You know, um, this relationship, habit, story, whatever the case might be, isn't aligned. Um, and here's what's important. There's you know, this truth surge, okay, isn't coming like from your mind. It's coming from your heart, okay? People always talk about, the heart opening, but they forget the heart isn't soft at first. When it opens, it pushes lies out of the body, and that's what today is. Um, you might feel like blunt honesty or, clarity that hits like a fucking lightning bolt, loss of tolerance, for manipulation or, emotional fucking games, seeing someone's true intentions instantly. Um, you know, or recognizing, the places in yourself that you haven't been authentic, you know? Um, this isn't chaos, it's not confrontation, it's alignment. And I mean, it feels huge, you know? Um, the hardest trying to say, we're not we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're, we're done with that fucking timeline. I don't know. Now the second thing happening today has caught a lot of people, off guard, I guess. The heart compression, I talked about this, in another video. That tight feeling, in your chest. Um, that emotional heaviness, that strange mix of, softness, sadness, nostalgia, and clarity. That's not heartbreak, it's not depression, that's the heart walls, cracking open. And I want to be very clear, um, this is the energy of, and I'm repeating myself, I realize this. I said this in my last video, but I do want you all to know this is the energy, of old, emotions surfacing, old memories that you haven't thought about in years, sudden empathy, a need to cry or a need to rest, you know, um, it's not a collapse. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a detox, you know? Your nervous system, is letting go of the old version of you that survived, right? So you can step into, the version of you that leads. And we need people like this really bad right now. You know, today's energy, also triggered a sudden identity like shedding. A lot of you woke up feeling like, I'm not who I was last week. You know, I don't resonate with my old, patterns, I guess. Why do I feel like I'm on a new timeline? It's because you are, I mean, why do I feel like I separated from my old self? Because you are, you know what I mean? A timeline like fork happened overnight, I guess is how I can best describe what I'm feeling. And today, people, you know, uh, kind of split into two groups, I guess. Um, those clinging to the old self and those stepping like into the authentic self. Um, I don't know. And this shift is subtle, right? But it is powerful. You know, um, you might notice, that you're choosing differently, just reacting differently, wanting different things, you know, um, or, finally walking away from things that never fit you. Um, do not underestimate this. You know what I'm saying? You are not losing your identity. You are losing your attachments, to the version of you that was only surviving, right? Big difference. Um, I don't know if today felt quiet for you, if you felt like you needed distance or silence or solitude, you know, um, that is exactly what this energy is supporting. You know what I'm saying? This is the inhale before the deep exhale. It's a preparation phase of the collective, activation that's coming later this week is what it is. You're not shutting down, you're powering the fuck up. Really, you know? Um I don't know, it's a lot. You know, the world is really loud right now, you know, but spiritually things, are extremely quiet. I don't know, but that's weird too because that's kind of like loud also, but like, I don't know. And it's not an accident. A lot of people are feeling um physical sensations today, especially, you know, in our department, if you want to call it that. Chest, heart space, solar plexus, they're feeling and this energy is clearing, fear of being seen, fear of speaking the truth, you know, fear of stepping into your power, fear of disappointing people. It creates a compression feeling, not dangerous or, not harmful, a temporary like tightness, right? Let it move through, your body is adjusting to, a higher frequency of truth. I don't know. You know, just give yourself time. You know what I said? So many people are changing so rapidly right now that I don't know. You're probably going to start seeing more angel numbers, songs with the perfect timing, a video that says exactly what you've been thinking, random messages, that feel like guidance, intuition, firing before your mind can actually even catch up to it. This is the universe saying to you, you're on the right path, keep going. Your intuition is running the show today. you know um Logic is just along for the fucking ride. you know um and here's the biggest thing you need to know, really. Today marks the beginning of a 5-day, like, purification window. Nothing scary, nothing dramatic. Just, this is an internal, cleansing of everything I just said. Old emotions, old identities, old stories, old timelines. You may feel more sensitive, more aware, more intuitive, more honest, aligned, more tired. That's because you're being prepared, not punished. Remember that. This is the setup for a major clarity breakthrough coming soon. This is, the moment before the shift is what it is. So, the big shift, a big shift rather. So if today, felt emotional, intense, or strangely honest, you're not alone. You're really not. This energy is supporting your truth, your heart, your, identity, your next chapter. So stay grounded, stay centered, stay aware, and most importantly, stay close to yourself. You're becoming the version of you that you came here to be. Legends. I love you.